a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay at home, Disney Dad.
Could be the end of an era, folks. It's no secret I love Christmas and Christmas movies, and Christmas cartoons have always had a place in my heart around the holiday season. I think it comes from a time when as a kid you'd be counting down the days until Christmas and you were just so excited every day you had no idea what to do with yourself to pass the time, so you would watch all these movies and these cartoons that would take your mind off the endless wait for Christmas Eve, while also making it worse as you experience the joy of Christmas on television time and time again, day after day, as was like the 50s, 60s, 70s. You know what? I want to say we have about 30 to 40 movies left in the bins, and this right here, this is the last Christmas-themed VHS tape we have. I don't know if we're going to make it to next Christmas before running out, but if we do, we probably won't have any Christmas movies to review next December. So this could be it right now. All the Christmas movies we've watched and reviewed since we started in 2019. Disney's Christmas Miracle is easily the most memorable one I have seen yet. This is what we call ending on a high note, folks. I have no idea what to think about this. I watched it a few days ago and I've been thinking of nothing but this movie since. It was mid-80s. It feels and looks like Gremlins, but it can't even put into words how random and oddly dark some of the twists in this movie are. Again, I can't wrap my head around it, and I think I'm gonna stay up late Christmas Eve and watch this again once the rest of the family is asleep. Maybe I'll catch Santa and he can explain it to me, or at least if this movie is true and instead of elves, Santa forces the ghosts of the dead to work in his toy shop building toys for the living for all of eternity. Oh yeah, that's coming. Merry Christmas, buckle up. Pour that rum and eggnog. Let's go. We press play. It's already a Christmas miracle. There's no trailers or ads. We jump right into the scrolling blue logo as it should be with Oh Christmas Tree playing underneath. Walt Disney Pictures presents One Magic Christmas, and there's a white blob on the screen that gets bigger and bigger. Oh, it's the moon. We see an old man playing Oh Christmas Tree on a harmonica in a tree at night, and we are already straight up pure lunacy as this guy hears a ghost voice from the void calling his name. Gideon, Gideon, it's Nicholas. This is a horror movie scene. Let's recap. It's in the middle of the night. There's an old guy in a tree playing the harmonica, and the moon is yelling at him. Nicholas says, "Tonight is the night I give Christmas angels their assignments." He has a difficult case. Her name is Jeannie Grainer, and she hates Christmas and never says Merry Christmas, not even once. He tells Gideon he will find Jeannie tomorrow in Bedford North in a shopping mall. I already like this movie. Starting a Christmas movie out with a spooky scene like this was a daring risk. So this is an angel talking to Nicholas. I'm guessing that's Santa, the Nicholas through the moon in the dead of night, awaiting his assignment. Okay, hell yeah. We jump to the next day and the mall and the family is bickering. The daughter wants to see Santa and mom says no, and dad says, come on, it's only $4. And mom says, that's an hour of work for me. Tells her husband to get a job so he could pay the $4 for their daughter to see Santa. Wow, okay. Going out on a limb here, I believe we have found Jeannie. The angel is a badass in his duster, like Always Sunny, and he watches on from the sidelines. His dad has full conversations with the kids off screen. Like the kids couldn't deliver their lines, or they shot this scene after the kids were gone. It was weird, but I'll forgive it. Mom is a downer. She almost tells him there is no Santa, but instead pivots and goes, Santa might not be coming with as much this year, because Dad's a loser. See, we learned that Dad got fired from Continental Radio, and that was last June, and Mom reminds him again that he's a loser and hasn't had a job since, so it's been over 6 months, and now it's Christmas and they're screwed. Also, the boy wants a Swatch watch. That's awesome. I wanted a Swatch watch back in the 80s as well. Never got one either, come to think of it, and my dad didn't get fired. Dad wants to go downstairs to escape his grumpy wife and work on bikes for the neighborhood kids for Christmas, but his wife is like, we're moving in 10 days, you gotta help me pack. It's my one morning off and I don't want to do it all by myself. What is her deal? I'll give this actress credit though. She hates Christmas in an over-the-top, exaggerated way, but she pulls it off believably. We learn that Dad dreams of starting his own bike shop and selling his own bike models. Outside, the kids play street hockey in a blizzard. The angel, dressed like the Undertaker, comes and makes it stop snowing. We cut to one little girl who says her family is really poor, but she still hopes to get a bike this Christmas. Oh. Got some good news, girl. We know a guy. She tells her friend her mom doesn't like Christmas, and then that creepy angel in a duster steps in and starts chatting up the little girls. The teenage boys are doing slap shots, and the angel goes, "Hey boys, be careful. There's little kids here." And the teenage boys tell him to eat shit, so he uses his angel powers and sends the puck through a window. Take that, 1985, Chad and Kyle. Oh, okay, the company that Dad used to work for owns the house that they live in, and now that he doesn't work there anymore, he needs to move him and his family out. The boss shows up, the guy that fired Dad shows up unannounced and wants to show his new hire and future tenants the house they will be living in, and this is awkward, right? The woman hates the color of the kitchen, and Jeannie's like, I painted it myself. Suddenly we cut to Mom naked and dancing in the shower. She's super happy and belting out "Stop" in the name of love. She's dancing. She's oddly, deliriously happy and dancing up a storm. The phone rings. She grabs a towel, leaves the shower, leaves the water running, and I think her washcloth plugs up the tub from draining. She gets the phone call and gets distracted by her kids, and she's walking around the house in her towel, and then the bathtub overflows. I thought this was going to be like a major plot point where the house is ruined and now they can't, it gets them in trouble with Dad's old boss, but no, they're just mopping it up in the next scene, and then one of her kids breaks the window with a mop handle. Mwah, mwah. Mom works at Glenn's supermarket and is grumpy there as well. Not surprising. I mean, customer service over the holidays will make anyone grumpy, but I don't think that's all this is. Her boss is this little geek half her age. Another poor mom, I think it's the mom of the little girl who wanted the bike, comes in with $25 worth of food stamps, but her food purchase comes to $27. So she puts back a box of treats right in front of her kid. And that's sad. That is such a sad moment. It's like subtle but effective, and they don't even make it a big deal about it. They don't cut to a close-up of the kid's face acting hurt and let down. The mom just mutters sorry and moves the box of cookies off the belt. And this feels real life. This punched me in the gut harder than most forced sad moments in movies. This movie is fantastic, and this movie makes me sad. Not making this about me, but I love Christmas, and I kill myself every year making sure my Christmas is special for my kids, and it makes me really sad knowing not every kid gets this for a whole bunch of different reasons, and that's my extra motivation. A lot of them, a lot of it out there is beyond Mom and Dad's control. I'm gonna move on. This movie reminds me how sad Christmas can be for kids. And now I'm in a black cloud. Okay, anyway. Daughter Abby, let's move on, asks the dad, Jack, if angels are real. And he says, of course. And after Abby and her little brother Cal are asleep, Mom proudly pulls Jack aside and shows her husband how she ran over to Toys R Us on her lunch break and presents a tea set for Abby and an art set for Cal. And Dad is like, okay, great. And on Monday, we'll get the rest. And Mom is like, this is all we can get. This is all we can afford because you don't have a job. Okay. Slowly sliding over to Team Mom now. So they have $5,000 in the bank. Remember that amount. It's important later. And Dad wants to take a couple $100 out and buy more gifts for the kids and give the kids a great Christmas this year. And the mom is like, what is wrong with you? That's all we have between us and the poor house. I get Mom's side for sure. But what the did Jack want to buy the kids for Christmas? That would cost $200 back in 1985. Can't they compromise and take out $40 and get them each something for $20? That's still a good gift. $20 is a lot of money in 1985. It doesn't matter. The bed, in bed, Mom is suddenly apologizing for being so cranky and wants some loving and is giving Jack the bedroom eyes. And after being belittled and devalued in front of his kids by his own wife all day, he's a guy in an 80s movie, so you better believe he's always ready to go. And as they get it on, the kids overhear Mom and Dad. The kids had previously overheard Mom and Dad saying Santa might not come this year. So the daughter says, it's probably because I forgot to write a note to Santa, and writes one and sneaks out the front door by herself in the middle of the night to mail the letter to Santa while the parents are doing unspeakable things to each other upstairs. The tree angel in the duster watches Abby mail the letter, that suddenly he appears in the street right in front of her and says, I'm a Christmas angel. My name is Gideon, and I'm dead. I'm a dead angel because I drowned trying to save someone else from drowning. Yeah, he tried to save someone from drowning and ended up drowning himself. What a lesson. Gideon says he's going to help teach her mom to love Christmas again. But first, she should give this letter to her mom to read and mail to Santa instead, so she and Santa can be on the same page. And now I think that Santa isn't real in this movie. But Gideon explains reading this letter will help her mom get in the Christmas spirit, right? Mom comes downstairs wearing a housecoat and a smile and looks outside just to see her daughter get hit by a car, but the angel reverses time and saves little Abby. We get some backstory. Mom's dad used to run a motel and she lived in there. Okay, I can see why she hates Christmas, I guess. It's funny that Jeannie has to be so grumpy this movie because this actress has an absolutely stunning smile, the rare time she smiles. Next scene, Grandpa is taking the kids to the attic looking for the Christmas tree lights, and instead he finds a box with a North Pole snow globe. He gives the snow globe to Abby and then an old book to Cal. That night, Abby asks Mom if Mrs. Claus is crabby, and Mom goes, all mums are crabby sometimes. Wow. Abby asked if Mom mailed the Christmas letter yet to Santa, and she says no and kind of huffs off. Suddenly Gideon is in Abby's room, and Abby is worried that her mom is never going to like Christmas again. Gideon explains that she did once, a long time ago. But it broke, and to demonstrate how things break, Gideon drops her snow globe, and it busts, but then they reverse the footage and it comes back into his hand fixed. Angel magic. He says he's going to give Mom a present only children and angels can give. And then he makes Abby promise, no matter what happens, in the next 24 hours, she can't be afraid. And then he disappears. I can't tell if they're hitting these marks or not, if this is holiday magic or creepy or sad or all of the above. I don't know what's going on. Jack is still thinking of his bike shop, and Jeannie's like, you need a job, a regular job that brings in a salary. And he's like, I know, this bike shop is the dumbest idea I've ever come up with. And that's how how my 9-year-old talks. But he storms out of the house. She follows him outside, and she's like, there's no way we can afford it. And she's like, everything is and we're and nothing matters, and Christmas is ruined. Good talk, wife. The scenery is beautiful in this movie. There's all these dark, dreary, wide shots of real snow-covered streets, and the snow looks dirty sometimes. This is real snow. He tells her if she came here to cheer him up, she's doing a lousy job, and he's gonna go walk alone for a while. He walks off, and suddenly Gideon is in front of Jeannie, and is all cryptic, and walks away. And we go horror movie, as all the Christmas lights in the town suddenly blink off, and we get horror movie stabs as it happens. The next morning, she's leaving for work. She has to work all day and night. I think it's Christmas Eve. And Abby's like, how will Santa know where we are? And Mom goes, I'm real sick of hearing about Santa. Yeah, happy Christmas Eve, kids. Jack gets a generator for the lighting of the town tree. That's going to happen later tonight. More misery as we see another family struggling. This dad is trying to sell stuff out of his car to get money for his kid for Christmas. The kid sits shotgun and looks sad as no one will buy dad's stuff from his mobile garage sales. He openly explains to people he doesn't have any money to buy his kid a Christmas present, and they all just walk by him. This guy's name is Harry, and he gets all cold and says to his son, I'll drop you off at the bus station for a couple hours. There's something I need to do. Jack is now going to the bank to disobey his wife and get some cash for the gift. He already bought a Christmas tree. It's on top of the car. The little girl sees that the bank is across the street from where Mom works, so she hops out of the car, goes to the grocery store to narc on Dad that he bought a tree and he's in the bank taking out money. Jeannie has a fit and she starts to leave her cash register to stop the dad, and then she gets fired for trying to leave on Christmas Eve. And she's pretty whatever about it. She's like, whatever, which makes no sense because it's completely out of character. She's terrified about them losing money. At the bank, the other poor dad, Harry, is robbing the bank now. Jeannie walks in just as Jack tries to talk Harry down and ends up getting shot. Jack gets shot, blown away, not in the shoulder, shot and drops. This movie is so random. It's every 5 minutes a new writer takes over. The robber hops into the family car with the kids in the back and speeds off. He has now killed the dad and kidnapped the kids, and we are in a high-speed chase as the mom is hysterical. I gotta say, Gideon, this is a pretty up plan. Couldn't you have just bought Mom that pony she never got when she was 7 or whatever? What is happening? The police are nowhere to be found, so like I said, Mom hops in another car and is in a high-speed chase, chasing the robber and the killer with her kidnapped kids down this rural highway. I hope they hand the script over to a new writer who makes Mom a vigilante and cuts Harry's eyes out and feeds them to 2 turtle doves or something in the Christmas spirit. Yeah. The police show up finally, and the robber rams the police car, and the robber with the kids in the vehicle and the tree on top go spinning and slide over the bridge into the icy water, and the car is gone. The mom is unusually calm about this. We go to shots of the empty house as Mom returns alone. Her entire family is dead, and she's down to 1 car. She's just kind of standing there in the bathroom, and I can't tell if she's gonna cry or start celebrating. She cries, but then we see Gideon carrying the kids out of the water. A priest calls. They found the kids standing at a road sign. Harry must have dropped the kids off before going onto the bridge, ramming the police car, and falling off. Or did he? The kids are back, but her husband is dead, and now, does she like Christmas again, Gideon? She has to tell the kids that dad is dead because he went to the bank. And this is very sad, but there's an undertone of like, if he had listened to me, he'd still be alive, kids. But very sad, and she makes sure that they understand that dad is 100% dead here on Christmas Eve and he's never coming back. So Gideon killed dad or allowed dad to die to, what is, oh, okay. Abby is once again escaping into the night to find Gideon, the angel at the tree, and brother Carl narks on her to mom. Abby goes to the tree and calls out Gideon and says, Gideon, I'm not afraid. Gideon appears. He's like, yeah, I might have messed this up a bit. I'm not sure I could bring your dad back from the dead, but hey, Santa might be able to. And poof, they're inside her snow globe. Just as mom arrives in the tree and her daughter is in there, and then Jack's friend, like her dead husband's friend, shows up and is like, let's go, Jeannie. I'll take you home. I'll bet you will now that Jack's out of the way, buddy. In the snow globe, Gideon tells Abby she has to go by herself to ask Santa. So she walks to Santa's castle in the snow globe, knocks on the door. Mrs. Claus opens the door, and Mom is a liar as Mrs. Claus is anything but crabby. Abby asks Santa directly, and not even Santa can bring dead back to life. She says, I don't want any gifts, just bring my dad back to life. And again, Santa goes, I can't do that. Disney. Santa says, I can't do it, but your mom might be able to. Her mom can make dad not dead. He has something he wants to give her mother, and we get a close-up of like this huge industrial machine going pow, 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 pow. And I was thinking, is this supposed to represent the current state of Mom and Jack's buddy? No, it's Santa's workshop. She recognized her old school janitor working at the workshop, but he's no elf. He's just a dead old man, and Santa's like, yup. So dead people end up as ghosts working at Santa's workshop. That's a fun twist on this whole thing. Santa looks on the wall of 1,000,000 letters and finds an old letter from Abby's mom. When she was a little girl, she wrote Santa. Abby is grilling him about the magic sleigh and hitting all the houses in one night, and they're making horror movie sounds under the scene for some reason again. Well, it's time to go, and Santa just kind of bounces. He's like, bye, and he leaves this little girl alone in his North Pole office, and we get more weird horror movie shots as she's looking around at some random stuff in his office. Suddenly she's back with Gideon, and they're out of the snow globe. This little girl, though, can act. I need to point that out. Abby is great. So after being legit missing, Abby is suddenly back at home, and Mom is all casual about it. This movie is so up and down. I don't know if it's dated or if this was done on purpose, but everything looks old and kind of dark. And yeah, it looks like an old horror movie, like it's shot like that. It looks kind of like Gremlins. That's really comparable to the stock footage and everything. Abby tells Mom that Santa said she could bring Dad back to life, and Mom's like, all right, close your eyes and go to sleep, and in the morning it'll be Christmas. Abby's also like, oh, and Santa gave you a letter. It's in my backpack, Mom. And then Mom actually goes and looks in the backpack to find this letter, which I feel this mom wouldn't have done, right? Like, that's out of character, but it's her letter from Santa from like the 50s, and she has a moment as the music swells. And I'm invested. Like, this is a good scene. Jeannie runs and gets Abby's unmailed letter to Santa and goes and mails it in the middle of the night, and Gideon is waiting for her by the mailbox. They have another moment as she mails it and smiles at him, and he smiles back, and he says, Merry Christmas. And she doesn't say it back. But suddenly we get more horror movie stabs as the Christmas lights in town come back on, and then her dead husband walks out of the fog. What kind of monkeypox is this? Jack is like, what? Of course I'm not dead. I just wanted to take a break from you and walk alone for a little bit. So we went back in time a couple of days ago when he went for his walk after she scolded him about starting his stupid bike shop, and all is well, and she gets another run at Christmas Eve. Okay. It's breakfast Christmas Eve morning, and Mom is happy, and we go back to the scene where future robber Harry is trying to sell stuff out of his car, and Mom speeds up and is like, hey, buddy, I'll give you $60 for this camping stove. And he goes, girl, you don't know what this means to me. And she goes, maybe I do. Next, she heads to work, and she says she's spending Christmas Eve with her family, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what she tells her little pencil neck geek boss, and the boss angrily says, okay, go and don't come back until Thursday morning at 9 a.m. sharp. Merry Christmas. Who's next? Food stamps lady kids get one of Jack's fixed up bikes for Christmas. She's happy. Check that box. Now everyone is at the giant tree waiting for it to light up. They fire up the generator. They light up the tree, and everyone cheers. Mom is so happy. That night, Christmas Eve, she writes a $5,000 check for the Jack Granger bicycle shop and puts it on the tree for her man before she goes to bed. The kids wait up for Santa, and it works. They see Santa, and Brother Cal is like, he is real, you were right, Abby. Mom comes downstairs and comes face to face with Santa. Santa goes, Merry Christmas, Jeannie. And she says, Merry Christmas, Santa back. And this scene had some weight. Santa nods and is gone. And we end as we started with Gideon in the tree at night playing his harmonica. This is easily the most memorable Christmas Disney movie I've seen in the 5 years of doing this review. This was intense and crazy, dark at times, and it sometimes hit and it sometimes misses, but I loved it. Let's see what Wikipedia says about this crazy garage sale of a movie. 47% score on Rotten Tomatoes from 17 critics. Oof. Roger Ebert gave the film 2 stars out of 4, saying, quote, this is very unfortunate. What we have here is a movie with an intelligent screenplay, wonderful performances, and skillful direction, but it is a tactical miscalculation from beginning to end, lamenting the misguided, sad story. Janet Maslin of the New York Times called the film modern with a gratifyingly old-fashioned feeling, some of which is a matter of its unself-conscious plainness. I don't really understand the second one, but I would definitely agree with the first one. This did not follow the tired and cliche Christmas movie plots and storylines in any single way at all, and that was wonderful, especially for a movie of this time. Well, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. If this is the end of our Christmas content, we ended on a high note. What a great movie.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism